Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something pretty vital for small businesses, especially service ones.
Right. Online reviews.
Exactly, the power they hold. We're going to unpack a discussion, sort of a DJ roundtable, they called it.
Yeah, it's like a peek behind the curtain, really. We've got this recording. It's pretty casual, just DJs talking shop about reviews, how they get them, how they think about them.
Or if they think about getting them in some cases.
True, there are definitely different takes.
So the mission for you listening is to get a real handle on this whole online review landscape. Like, how do people actually try to get them? What are the different opinions?
And the challenges too, right? It's
Yeah.
not always straightforward. You'll get some practical insights here, understand this whole aspect of business a bit better.
We'll be hearing mostly from Buddy Mueller. He hosted the chat. And then DJs, Dwayne, Sean, Matt, Joe.
Uh-huh. And we'll also touch on Mike and Hunter, because they had, let's say, contrasting views.
Definitely. Okay, so let's dive in. Buddy kicks it off, basically asking, how do we actually use reviews? Get more five-star ones.
Yeah, he connects it straight to marketing, getting seen, mentions being at a wedding show, how reviews help you stand out.
Makes sense.
And right away, Dwayne jumps in. He's kind of the newer guy, started back in October, he said.
Okay.
And his strategy. He asks, right after the gig, if someone says something nice, client, guest, whoever,
Just ask for a review then and there.
seems like it, he ties it directly to like wanting to move up in the DJ company he works with and for his own business too.
Right.
Says he's got about 12 already, expects more. So very proactive.
What are you doing? Interesting. That's quite direct.
Yeah. Then Sean brings up SEO, search engine optimization.
The technical side.
Totally. He stresses that Google reviews, they really move the needle for search rankings more than others, he thinks.
Okay, so Google's the big one for him.
Definitely. And he's got a system. They send a follow-up email, includes the review links, naturally,
Standard stuff.
but also like a sample of the perfect review, his words,
Whoa, really? A sample? What for?
to encourage specific keywords, wedding DJ, the town name, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Helps Google figure out where and what they do.
Right, right. So it's not just about the stars. It's about getting found online, too. Smart.
Exactly. It's that double whammy, proof for people, signals for Google. Matt kind of echoes this, says reviews, get you business, boost your SEO, full stop.
And he also warned against buying fake reviews, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Stress the importance of genuine ones tied to the location. Seems like everyone agrees reviews are, well, pretty essential for growth, at least early on in the chat.
And they even talked about reviewing other vendors, like DJs reviewing the venue or the photographer.
Yeah, Sean mentioned that. They leave reviews for vendors they liked working with. The idea is maybe they'll get one back, build some goodwill.
Huh. Like a little ecosystem of reviews.
Kinda, yeah. So then Buddy throws out the next question. Is there some, secret sauce? Do you actually ask clients, hey, was I worth 5 stars?
That feels a bit bold.
Right. And this is where the different approaches really start to show. Dwayne says he just asks anyone who compliments him. Client, guest, doesn't matter.
Okay, but Buddy questioned that, right? Like, does a guest review carry the same weight as one from the person paying the bill?
He did raise that. Dwayne's take was basically, hey, a review's a review. But it does make you think about, who the reviewer is.
True. What about Matt? He seemed proactive, too.
Yeah, Matt's similar to Dwayne in being direct. Here's positive feedback. He asked for the review right then, often just a quick text or an Instagram message.
And he seems confident he'll get them if people are happy.
Totally. And he mentioned having a ton of reviews, right?
Yeah.
Google, Yelp, the Knot. His direct approach seems to work for him.
Okay, so we have the proactive camp, but then Mike chimed in.
Ah, yes, Mike. Via chat. Totally different vibe.
What was his take again? It was quite strong.
He basically said asking for a review is like asking for a massive tip, like $500. He felt it wasn't humble.
Wow. So he prefers just letting it happen organically.
Yeah.
Word of mouth.
Exactly. He used this analogy like chasing ambulances, saying actively going after reviews feels kind of desperate or unprofessional to him.
So a real disagreement there.
Big time. And Hunter kind of felt similarly, said he mostly relies on word of mouth too.
Didn't he have some bad experiences with spam and stuff?
Yeah, I mentioned getting spam reviews, unwanted calls from his online listings. Made him wary of actively seeking that kind of attention.
Okay, so that makes sense too. If you get burned, you might back off. So it's a whole spectrum, really, from actively chasing them to avoiding it.
Totally. Which leads nicely into how the ones who do ask go about it. Joe had a really detailed process.
Right, Joe seemed very methodical.
Yeah, he talked about building this emotional connection first throughout the whole planning process.
Okay, so it's not just a transaction.
Not for him, no.
Right.
Then after the event, he sends a text, but it's personalized, and he includes specific questions,
Like prompts.
kind of, to
Ah.
guide them.
Asking about, the setup, how he handled requests, responsiveness, professionalism, specific things. Trying to get more detailed feedback, not just great DJ.
Exactly. More substance.
And Joe also mentioned testimonials, right?
Yeah.
If someone doesn't want to do a full
That's
review.
a smart move, yeah. If maybe they aren't quite feeling 5 stars for a public site, he suggests a testimonial he can use himself, website, social media.
Or even video.
He loves live video testimonials. Captures that immediate positive vibe.
Yeah.
Very adaptable way to get feedback.
And they touched on tagging people on social media, too.
Tagging the clients, other vendors. Good cross-promotion, but they all agreed. You gotta ask permission first.
Always ask permission. Good rule. So Joe's very structured. What about Matt? Did he have templates?
No, Matt said he keeps it simpler. No templates, just asks directly for a 5-star review if the interaction was good.
And Buddy mentioned trying to put some guardrails on it.
Yeah, like suggesting they mention the city, the type of event, gently guiding them towards those SEO keywords again.
Right. Makes sense. Sean had a practical tip, too, about honeymoons.
Oh, yeah, that was interesting. He warned against clients leaving reviews while they're traveling overseas right after the wedding.
Why is that?
Google might flag it, sees a review coming from a weird location, thinks it might be spam.
The algorithms.
Yep. Same with the reviews like too enthusiastic or has swear words. Might get filtered out. Little technical things you wouldn't necessarily think of.
Good to know. So, okay, platforms. We heard Sean loves Google for SEO. What about the others? The Knot, Wedding Wire, Yelp.
Sheldon definitely acknowledged the Knot and Wedding Wire, especially if you're paying for listings there. They have their place in the wedding industry.
But Yelp, he wasn't so keen.
No, he mentioned their not recommended reviews where Yelp hides some reviews based on its own logic. It can be super frustrating for businesses.
Yeah.
He actually advises not sending people direct links to Yelp.
Wow, okay. So Yelp's tricky. Did others agree?
Joe definitely shared that frustration with Yelp filtering reviews. He also leans towards Google as being more reliable overall.
And Matt had strong words for Wedding Wire.
Yeah, someone, I think Matt, called Wedding Wire garbage in their specific area.
Yeah.
And Zola got mentioned as maybe not being super useful either.
So it really depends on where you are and what industry you're in, which platform works best.
Totally. It's not one size fits all.
Now, Buddy brought up that tough question. What if a client thinks you only deserve, 2 stars?
Right. The dreaded negative review.
They didn't really dive deep into how to handle that in this chat, did they?
Not in detail, no. But just bringing it up acknowledges that it happens. And you need a strategy for that too, not just for getting the good ones. How do you respond? Can you fix it?
Yeah, that's probably a whole other conversation.
For sure. But Joe did bring it back to the idea that all feedback is valuable, even the critical stuff.
How so?
It shows you where you can improve. It's not just marketing fluff. It's genuine insight into your service, your performance, how you get better.
That's a good perspective. Turning negatives into learning opportunities.
Exactly. But then the debate resurfaced, right? Mike's point about not chasing reviews.
Yeah. His be humble approach.
Contrasted with Buddy sharing that statistic. You know the one. People are apparently way more likely to talk about a bad experience than a good one.
Oh, right. So if you don't actively ask for the good ones, the negative voices might just naturally be louder online.
That's the argument for being proactive, yeah, to balance things out.
Makes sense. We also heard some random little side notes. Buddy's foam hot dogs.
Yeah, from Portillo's at a wedding show. Not really a review tactic, but shows how those little memorable things create positive vibes.
True. And the whole checks versus Zelle Venmo thing.
Yeah, a quick tangent on payments. Matt seemed pretty strong on Zelle being universal now. Just shows how even payment convenience can factor into the overall client experience.
And Hunter's warning about getting scammed on a payment app. A reminder to be careful online in general.
Definitely. So, wrapping up, Matt's final thought was pretty blunt.
What was it?
Basically, no recent reviews equals no credibility. Ouch.
Strong take.
Yeah.
But then Mike's advice was the opposite. Be humble, don't chase.
Polar opposites right to the end.
And the very last point seemed to be about just doing a good job in the first place. Preparation. Handling mistakes.
Yeah, kind of foundational. Prepare well, know that things can go wrong, but how you recover is key. That underlying service quality is ultimately what earns you good feedback. Or bad.
Okay, so let's boil this down. What we really learned from this deep dive into the DJ discussion.
Well, first, there's clearly no single right way to handle online reviews. Everyone's got a different comfort level, a different strategy.
Yeah, some are all in on actively asking for marketing for SEO.
While others are like, nope, word of mouth is king, or they've been burned by spam and prefer to stay passive.
Platform choice matters too. Google seems key for search, but industry sites like The Knot have value. Yelp is complicated.
And the way you ask can make a difference. Personalized requests, maybe giving some gentle guidance like Joe or Buddy suggested, those seem like effective tactics if you are going to ask.
And you really have to respect those differing opinions we heard. Mike and Hunter weren't chasing reviews, and they had their reasons. It's not just about laziness. It's a different philosophy or based on bad experiences.
Exactly. So for you listening, seeing these different approaches, hearing the pros and cons, it helps you think critically about feedback in any service business, not just DJing.
It really does.
Which kind of leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? In this world just saturated with opinions online, how does a business actually cut through the noise? How do you make sure your real value gets reflected?
Or thinking about Mike versus Matt. Is there a right amount of effort? Can you try too hard to get reviews and seem, I don't know, desperate or fake?
Good question. Maybe think about your own experiences. When you leave reviews, what prompts you? When you read them, what makes you trust one business over another? It's complex.
Definitely food for thought. Well, thanks for diving deep with us today.